Welcome to the November meeting of Commission on Aging. Thanks everybody for being here. We have two folks here who are typically here, Cynthia Hall, sitting in for Allie, who Allie has a conference today. Is that what's going on? Absolutely. And Peter Bigelow from the Darien Housing Authority. We'll be talking about our friends over at the Royal and figuring out what we can do for them. Cool, awesome. So without further ado, September minutes. Any questions, changes? Peter?
I do have one, and it's an important one. In reporting on the activities of the summit, there was a sentence that said, Mr. Redder said that the governor had closed down the telehealth development programs. It wasn't the governor, it was the federal government.
Ah, got it. Fair enough, we can make that
You sure
change.
don't want to blame the governor?
No, the governor doesn't want that. Doesn't want that. Any other changes to the October minutes? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the October minutes as amended? Thank you. Second, thanks. All in favor? Aye, great.
One abstention.
One abstention, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Sounds good. And without further ado, Cynthia, give us the Mather Human Services report.
Good morning, everyone. So during the government shutdown, we were so fortunate to be able to provide grocery store gift cards to Darien residents. This was helping anyone who was getting SNAP benefits, and to be able to cover those benefits, we gave them grocery stores. And
Could you speak a little louder?
Yeah.
sure, this was all made possible from gifts and donations. So we're lucky for that. But thankfully, all the benefits have been restored as of November 8th. And just to give you guys an idea of how many SNAP recipients we have 244 recipients.
Wow.
So that's a mix of families, seniors, and individuals with disabilities.
244.
So now we're concerned with the potential cuts for Medicare and Medicaid and how it's going to impact our most vulnerable residents, our seniors and our families. So on a happier note, we are looking for donors for our holiday program, Adopt a Senior, Adopt a Family. And this is, it's a wonderful time of the year, but it's also a hard time. So we'd like to make it extra special, and it's completely anonymous, so no one will know who the donors are, the families or seniors. So please, if you'd like to adopt a senior or family, or both, reach out to us, so we'd like that. We're continuing with open enrollment, Medicare open enrollment, that started on October 15th, and it will end on December 7th, so Allie and I can sit down with you and review your drug plan for next year. We do have limited spots, but if you're in need of that, please give us a call. Our next QPR training will be on December 8th here in Town Hall, 12:30 in room 206, and that's open for any Darien resident or anyone serving the Darien community.
Could you tell our TV viewers what that is?
Sure, it's question, persuade, and refer, and it's a quick 90-minute training to help anyone who is actually having any symptoms of suicide, specifically suicide. So what to look out for and what to see in them. And we've had this training in the past, and we're going to continue doing it for the community. And we've had a lot of great feedback on it, so whoever's interested. Our energy assistance program, so we're continuing to accept applications for that. It is income-based, and it's a program that helps with your heating source. And for right now, we're accepting applications for oil to get more deliveries, but anyone who heats with gas or electricity has until May to apply, so there's plenty of time. Our medical loan closet continues to be a great resource for Darien residents, so if you ever in need of medical equipment, keep us in mind. We're always having people come, especially during the holidays. A lot of wheelchairs, a lot of transport chairs are being borrowed. And moving on to the Mather Center. So our Thanksgiving luncheon is today. We're expecting 130 people, which honestly, I double a recipe and it doesn't taste good. So I can't imagine cooking for 130 people. But Chef Judy, she works her magic and the food is absolutely delicious. I hope to see some of you later. So we have that going on today. We also have our LEAP program, which is something that we've partnered with Ableist. And that is, it stands for Life Skills, Employment, Advocacy, and Partnership. It's a young adult transition program for individuals with developmental disabilities. This program is only for Darien residents, and we currently have 5 participants, but we can go up to 12. So we're looking forward to welcoming them to the Mather Center. I know that Allie mentioned the Partnering Together in Kind workshop. That will be starting soon. We need 6 to 8 participants. and we're getting close to that number, so those dates will come out soon. And our Circle of Light holiday luncheon will be on December 16th. So please save the date. It's another special big event. We also, probably for that event, are expecting another 130 people. And Santa letters, anyone that would like to help spread the holiday cheer. We're doing that with Parks and Recreation. So a lot of the families here will write letters to Santa, and if you guys want to write back as little Santa helpers, that will be, please join us for that workshop. And lastly, the Mather Center will be closed for the holidays, December 24th through the 26th.
Awesome, thank you. Any questions for Cynthia? Peter?
I'd like to underscore a point on the gift giving. I think the very first note was really focused strictly on credit cards or gift cards. I'm sure those of you that also know seniors receiving these know it's just as important as the gift that comes with it. We get a profile of who that person is, so it could be a scarf or a hat or a pair of warm gloves or a blanket or a little throw rug or a coffee cup or something like that, or hot chocolates. So I think it's just as important, and I applaud your department because I know there's a lot of work moving all that material around. But again, I just want to underscore, when I first read it, I wanted to say it's a lot more than that gift card. Everyone appreciates the gift card, but some folks don't get a Christmas package other than the one that you deliver.
It's so true. It's unfortunate, but it is true, and they look forward to it.
Great. Other questions or points? Hearing none, thank you so much, Cynthia. And we're moving on to old business. Our old business is, for today at least, to start with, is the question of the Royal and our handicap spaces and our snow removal. And we're now in November, so today is the day if we can figure out a solution. And I'll start with you, Peter. Tell us what you got from the Darien Housing Authority.
Okay, so a little backdrop here. Earlier this year, I think we had a conversation about it. Sue, you were over at the Royal for a spirited meeting, shall we say. And after that, I went back to Imagineers. I want to reboot this thing. Everyone's emotional about this on different levels. I want to understand what we can do, what we can't do. I want to understand what other people are doing, and I want to reach out to people to get quotes and find out what's happening. So the first thing I found out was, we're in affordable housing and we have to abide by a number of regulations, including the Fair Housing Acts. And there are several. There's 42-US Code 3604B and 24 CFR 100.65. In my day life, I'm deal with Department of Defense, and so I've learned to hate all these types of things. But anyway. And they say, and we cannot discriminate for a number of reasons: race, color, national origin, religion, sex, age, family status, or disability, which means that if we do this for anyone, we have to do it for everyone, and not just at the Royal. It would have to be at the Heights and the Royal, because we have to comply to Fair Housing Acts. So that was the first thing that was a surprise to me, because I really did think that there'd be a carve-out for handicapped or for seniors, and there's not. So that was the first spaghetti on the wall. And we verified that also through our council said, are we interpreting it the right way? And we said, yes, you are interpreting it, and you are audited every year, so you have to make sure that you are compliant. Fine. Next thing was reaching out to other property management companies and housing authorities. We split this up. I reached out to housing authorities, and Imagineers reached out to property development companies. And we went to Elite Properties, Northeast Properties, Palmer Properties, Millennium Group, blah, 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 down. Roughly 500 communities, roughly 10,000 people, not one offer of service. So, okay, I get it from a management company, and just anecdotally, our resident commissioner, Joe Fogno, works for a property management company, and his company also will not clear off cars or shovel between cars because of potential liability from someone saying the car's been damaged, scratched, whatever. So then I had conversations with with housing authorities. We've actually, earlier in the year, started a pretty good relationship with the New Canaan Housing Authority. So spoke with them, spoke to Westport, spoke to Stanford, and everyone said the same thing: we do not do that kind of a service. And they had some interesting sidelines to it. And by the way, I'll back up to the management companies. Many of them do not just market or affordable senior, but also assisted living. Nothing happens even at assisted living facilities. And the comments I got from the housing authority was there's usually a kind of a checklist they have, and they understand that tenants and residents at times have health issues and are unable to do certain tasks. But if they consistently cannot do certain tasks, it sort of is a red flag. They bring in social services to determine if they're still capable of living independent living facilities. And one of them is if you can't clear off your car, if you can't take your garbage out, so on down the line. So the housing authority guys are saying if that's happening, if you have someone who really can't do it, you might want to look into if they're capable of living in independent living. I don't think that's the case in this situation at all, but I just mentioned that. We also talked to Imagineers, and you know, Imagineers, they have 200 plus communities, and they actually have a list of all of them, including the Darien ones. And they do not do this either. They say it's not a service that should be offered because no one else does it, and it's above and beyond, and so on. Back to the housing authority, they say, well, what do you do in this situation? You know, and they say we always tell the residents to contact family or friends if they need assistance, or neighbors to see if they will help out, if they will do something. Earlier in the year, Joe Warren, who was chairman and is now our treasurer, reached out in Darien to a number of groups, fire departments, scouts, and so on, and everyone said they'd love to be able to help, but they can't commit to help because of resources, where people are at any point in time, when a storm may hit, so on down the line. So that was, my guess is there may be, and agencies or people, or maybe, you know, social services knows somebody who, if we had the name of the agency, we could give it to residents saying, if you need assistance, please contact. But when we spoke to them as can you commit to it, they were unable to commit to it. The next thing we did is we went out to ask for quotes. And surprise, surprise, nobody would quote it. But the interesting one was we went to the person who used to do Old Town Hall homes prior to being Royal, who did clear off cars. And their comment was they did it because they knew some of the residents, and they stopped when, quote, belligerent residents threatened to sue them. And so they said, we're no longer cleaning off the cars, and they won't even, quote, doing the job for Darien Housing Authority, because that was such a bad experience for them. And he said that, you know, literally the plow people were being accosted saying, you know, you damaged my car, what are you going to do about it? And you saw the spirited nature of the seniors. Some of them are, I mean, most are great, but some of them definitely have moments, shall we say. So
Well, I have moments too, so.
yeah. So from our
Yeah,
perspective,
looking at a couple of them.
That's right. Me and Peter have moments.
we don't see a way to systematically handle this other than if we can get a list of agencies where the tenant can reach out and request assistance. But as a housing authority, we can't get people who will, you know, quote, doing the, we're being told we have to do everyone, which is a huge undertaking for both the Heights and the Royal. We're talking 160 some units.
So let me ask a question. So let's assume we keep it where it is right now. Where it would stand is if a senior is in a handicapped spot and does not move their car, they will simply plow around it. They will not do anything at that parking spot. So as a result, the senior either has to find somebody to clean it off for them, clean it off for themselves, or wait for it to melt. Am I correct about that?
Correct. However, I think they will the shovel behind the car. We're not going to go between the cars.
Right. So basically shovel behind it, but basically we're leaving it where it is.
Right.
And then the question becomes, what town agencies would be available in the next 48 hours, okay,
Mhm.
to be able to come along whenever possible, okay, to shovel them out,
Right.
okay? I very much appreciate all your digging and finding out what you found out. Sue?
I'm sort of speechless, really. I find it hard to believe that none of these other management companies help people with removing snow. I also know that the one that used to do it, you know, has rave reviews from the people who I know at and they were very upset that group was fired.
Well, they weren't fired, they quit. They quit because of the few people who came after them threatening to sue.
Another part of the letter, the edict that came out also said that then you've got, within 24 hours, you have to move your car to somewhere else so that they can do a clean sweep, which is kind of an impossible task given there's nowhere to move cars in that area. I mean, what are you proposing that they do?
Typically, what happens is we'll notify them of when we want to get the cars out. Not everyone does it, but most will take the cars and they'll either go shopping or be out for an hour or two. Plow work's done, they come back.
So can we extend that then? Let's back up. Okay, we're starting to find some sort of a solution here. We talked about 48 hours. Could we ask that the full plowing not be done for 72 hours? In other words, in 72 hours, we might be able to find some local agency to be able to dig these people out so they could move their car, right? I mean, in other words, 24 hours is ridiculous, okay? That's period, new paragraph, okay? Can we work with the housing authority and Imagineers and whoever is doing this to try to wait? I mean, obviously they'll plow the initial plow, I get it, but now we're talking about a full plow. Can we wait 72 hours on handicap? I know we can't say just on handicap spaces, I get it now.
Yeah.
But can we say wait 72 hours to allow people to be able to hire such an agency, or to pay, or to find some other group that, or Boy Scouts or the fire department, at home in wherever it may be? Is that a solution?
What I don't know is if we would have complaints of people who need to want the thing done sooner.
Right.
You're dealing with,
No, I get
some
it.
are gonna say, 72 is great, in fact, it's snowing, I'm not gonna go anywhere for a week. But some people may say I have to be someplace. I don't know.
Fair.
But we can definitely bring it up as seeing if we can buy some time.
Yeah.
For other potential assistance to be provided by an agency at the resident's request.
Just to get back to what, say, New Canaan, what do they do?
They don't do anything. They plow, and that's it.
And their seniors are required to shovel the snow between their cars.
Right, and clean off the cars. And same with Westport, same with Stanford.
So I think what we're hearing is there was a one-off with a wonderful company that did clean off the cars, who unfortunately ran into some belligerent seniors who were pissed off that they somehow got their cars scratched as a result, and they washed their hands of the whole situation. That's what we're hearing.
Right.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so we're now off of this company coming back. They're not coming back, right? No other company will do this. You can't even get a quote for this.
Right.
So we're now off of the housing authority, other than 72 hours. Okay, see if you can get us 72 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough?
Chris, did you have any luck with,
So, as Peter mentioned, we talked to a couple people who do some work, or we refer to others, and one particular, I talked to about just the handicap spots, and I don't think they're willing or able to entertain just something like, they just, can't
Sure.
get somebody, for 6 spots. I'd also be concerned that if we only do 6, what happens to the other residents, because we do provide a lot of services for other non-handicapped residents of the Royal. You know, we talked about, we have people, we have volunteers, typically high school kids, who will go out, and we have a snow shoveling program where our volunteers will shovel the public sidewalks. Now, you know, that's not a 24-hour proposition. The kids get there when they can get there, and
Right.
the town, you know, we give the list to the town. You know, I thought maybe for 6 spaces, maybe we can get those volunteers to come over and do those 6 spaces around the handicap spots at the Royal. That's possible potentially. Now, same thing, it wouldn't happen right away. It would be when the kids can get over there. I candidly, and I'd have to defer to some of the board members, and we have a meeting today, would be concerned about liability if we're dealing that close to cars. You know, so, you know, we would probably entertain some of the same concerns that you know, the housing authority has.
You would only shovel and clean ones where a waiver was signed by the senior.
Well, that absolutely, you have to have a waiver,
Yeah.
or nobody's going to do it.
Correct.
They would have to request it.
Well,
So the first thing is we have to offer it as a service at their request.
yeah,
And that separates out the housing authority from anything.
Right.
Now it's resident to service. And then between the service and the resident, you'd have to have whatever agreement you put together.
but the problem's going to be that you have a group, unfortunately, who's demonstrated that they have really high expectations about this working. And just listening to trying to explain how this would work with the clients that we're talking about, you're gonna have to have somebody at home in Darien is gonna have somebody that's doing nothing but dealing with complaints. Because it's going to be an issue. It's just very emotional, and it's not easy to do. The other problem is in the town of Darien, we're on our 3rd at my house now, snowplower, because they're not doing it anymore. Landscapers are not doing snow plowing. Some are, okay? Channel 79, I know there's some of you out there that are, but a lot of people are no longer doing it. It's not profitable to them. We haven't had the kind of weather that they're not gonna do it for free, unfortunately. So what I'm concerned about is putting a solution in place that really isn't a solution. It's not executable. If it is, if Chris and his team can work it out, that's fine. But I just think we need to be very careful about expectations that we can't fulfill.
Well, go ahead, Chris.
This might not be a fair question, probably a deeper dive, but, so if the residents sign a waiver, and God forbid there is a scratch,
Yep.
does that waiver really protect you?
Yes.
It does, okay,
I mean, to my mind, yeah, they're gonna have to hire an attorney
okay.
to file a lawsuit against the At Home in Darien or whatever volunteer group this does. And the first thing a defense lawyer is gonna waive at them is that waiver,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
Anybody can sue anybody for anything in America. The McDonald's hot coffee is proof of that. But nevertheless, the reality is that waiver is designed for just this issue, which is you're
Okay.
willing, you want these people, these Boy Scouts, whoever they are,
Mhm.
to come along and yes, your car will be scratched, okay?
Mhm.
You accept that, okay? And so therefore, in exchange for your car having an occasional scratch, you're gonna do this. But back to Jim's point, it's a real challenge here, okay? To the question of if these seniors are going to be upset about even this option, that they're looking to the wrong people, it sounds like. In other words, I wanna buy them the 72 hours, fair enough? Then I want them to contact Chris or anybody else they wanna contact to try to figure this out. I don't think 24 hours is fair by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe you wanna make it 48, whatever you guys think can work, okay? But it seems we've reached the end of this in terms of what can we as a Commission on Aging do? We've dug, right? We've learned that no one does this anymore. We know we've got a waiver issue. We know we've got, right now, 6 seniors, okay, potentially or more, and also at every other handicap spot that might get snowed in Darien, right? In other words, it's not just at the Royal. We've heard from about the Royal, but there've got to be other handicap spots that are in the same position.
Yeah,
The other concern I have, and I'm thinking out loud at the moment, and I need to check on this, is would we have to offer this to all residents, the option because of the Fair Housing Act?
Yeah, the first thing you mentioned, right off the bat, how do you get around that? If that is actually the code, and if it's been, if you've had legal people say, yep, that stands up, there's absolutely no way you're going to go out there and clean off 6.
No, but that's not what we're asking to do. We're asking the time from the Darien Housing Authority. I'm only pushing them to give us more than 24 hours.
Right.
Fair enough?
Right.
I'm not asking them to be involved in anything else, not handicap spaces, not anything else. The whole parking lot doesn't get plowed for 48 to 72 hours, right? Then each senior is going to go out, okay, try to find someone, a group or whatever, and that brings us into the waiver process, okay? Or quite frankly, spends $20 or $50 or whatever they have to spend to clean their car. But I want them to have the time to find that person or have that person be able to make it. And like your Boy Scouts, right? They're not going to turn around and leave school to come clean somebody's car, okay? But after school, that day or the day after or whatever, if we have time for them to get there, it's going to really help out these seniors, assuming each senior has signed a waiver. And if they don't want to sign a waiver, they're screwed.
Yeah, but if you're not one of the 6,
You can still do it.
but is it acceptable to you to not have the entire parking lot plowed for 48 hours later?
They're plowing it, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, Peter. They do plow it, they don't do the full plow, which is when people have to move their cars, right? So they're plowing to get you out. If you can scrape off your own car, you can get out after the first plow. The issue is they want to plow the whole freaking thing with everybody moving their cars within 24 hours, which to be blunt is outrageous, okay? So 48 to 72 would at least give people time to find somebody to be able to move their cars and find somewhere to move it to.
Right.
Fair?
Peter, I understand that the parking lot dynamics are different at the Royal and the Allen O'Neill, but we, at least at home in Darien, we haven't heard any concerns at Allen O'Neill.
Correct.
I mean, I would imagine the timing is probably similar and when it gets plowed relative to the snowfall. They probably can't plow to the side of each car. So would you know, why the Royal has more issues than
Well,
Allen?
because the Royal is a senior facility, and I think that's part of it.
There's a lot of seniors at Allen O'Neill. I mean, we drive a lot.
There are, and also a lot of young families.
Yeah.
It's a different mix.
Yeah,
The parking situation, you're parked next to your house, if you will, unit at the Heights versus it's an apartment with parking all over.
right.
So I think that you've got a little bit of, the Heights, in my view, is it's the younger group, and the Royal is an older group, and they have a number of people who have some health issues,
Okay.
even those who are not in handicapped.
Yeah.
It's, and it's also, it's less, there's less, I won't say less parking, there's adequate parking, but it's fully utilized. Whereas at the Heights, you've got, enough parking for each unit, but some only have one car, so it's.
Yeah, so it's not as tight in terms of being able to shovel
Yeah, they've
out.
got options,
Right,
yeah, which you don't have there.
okay. So I think where we're leaving this for today, at least, can you report back to Sue and let us know if we can get that 48 to 72, ideally 72? And then if you guys at your board today can brainstorm at Home in Darien as to, A, are you willing to accept a waiver? And it may not be a waiver to Home in Darien, it might be a waiver to, there might be 2 waivers, right? In other words, for Home in Darien and for whichever group you're who's volunteering for this, right? If it's a Boy Scouts group, right? And then Sue, I'll count on you circling back to us at the December meeting to report back. So you'll have to come back, Peter. Thank you for being here, okay? To at least let us know, can we buy more time? That would make me very happy. If we can't buy more time, I'd want to know why. In other words, I get everybody wants to have the whole thing, but to my mind, getting additional time for these seniors at handicap spots or elsewhere to be able to find the Chris's of the world, the Boy Scouts of the world, whoever it is that they can sign the waivers for, seems to be the best we're going to be able to do at this juncture, given the fact you cannot find a plow company willing to do it.
Okay.
All right? Everybody cool with that? At least as cool as we can be?
Just one other issue that came up when I went to the meeting
Yeah.
is that the number of handicap spots is maybe perhaps not adequate, is what people were saying. I mean, is there any chance of adding more handicap spots? I understand this is a different issue, but there was some noise at that meeting that people have been on the waiting list for years, and nobody is graduating, and I don't know what is involved in that, but that should be, I would just suggest maybe something to be looked at as well.
When we put the Royal in, we need to have a certain number of parking spaces, and a certain percentage have to be handicapped, and so we are able to get that to work. If we add handicap, we lose other parking spaces because handicapped are larger. So there's a real estate issue there which enters into the picture. And I fully understand that in a normal facility, handicap spots are underutilized, but in a senior facility, you need more. And the issue is how we can get more and comply to the parking regulations and also have enough units for all the people who are in the building. So we're really tight on real estate in that particular facility. So I'm not sure what we can do, but we are aware that there is demand for more handicap parking spaces.
You would have to go to planning and zoning probably and get a variance, because they have to agree to it in the first place.
But we also have to make sure we have enough parking spots
No.
for tenants, so if.
I know, but rather than you deciding that, the authority that should be making those decisions, whether it's adequate or not, is planning and zoning. That's what they do.
Correct. We were on that for a lot of years and understand that.
It doesn't work.
But we also, if you need, I'm going to throw out a number here. If we need 60 spots, and if you add 2 handicap, now you only have 58 spots, then you don't have enough spots for all the people in the building. So that's the constraint we have. And there are a few things we wish we could do. I mean, we have the EMS in the building next to us, which could be repurposed and would do a couple of things, give them a better facility and add some parking spots. But that's a whole different
That's not going to
problem.
happen in a month or so.
A different challenge. But we do hear that as a concern.
But you do have visitor spots, and maybe some of you would have less visitor spots to make it all work.
Possibly, and we thought about, if we can get the town to agree, maybe have the visitor spots on the road, not in the parking area, because there is parking along Academy Street. But that gets back to, that's now a town issue, and there should be public parking for everybody. Again, it's,
You got a Rubik's Cube.
you push it here, it pops up there, you push it here, it pops up there, and it's like,
But is that something that the authority can look at to increase, I would suggest?
I'll bring it back and say, that the request is made to see if we can find a way to add handicap parking at the Royal.
Just not to be a thorn in your side, Peter, we just keep coming up with more issues, but,
So we've been friends for ages.
That's the beauty of Darien, right? We can try to figure out solutions. So if you guys can coordinate, let us know on this time frame. You can also coordinate on question of the handicap spots. But thank you so much for coming. I totally let you escape after your presentation. Peter, we appreciate it. And,
Thank you, guys.
We hope to see you again at some point.
Okay,
Thanks
very
so
much.
much.
And definitely appreciate that you're thinking about all this stuff. That's, it's very good to know that we've got people who care about what's going on.
Well, the residents came to us, for help, so how could we not respond? I
Absolutely,
mean, we weren't digging this out of our, oversight.
right.
And we have, there's several of us are on the at-home in Darien board, and we have a board meeting today, so that's another opportunity to vet for ideas, and Chris can lead that if we can do more with the volunteer program that we have, then, the board can take action if there's a solution we can help with.
I should probably know this, but I don't. Does At Home Darien ever go to the Royal to sort of explain to residents what services are available?
Services, how, like, our services?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we probably have 15 people we provide a variety of services for. I met with Myrna at one point, and we've talked about maybe a group kind of gathering type thing, so maybe it's time that we do something more official of having something in that community room or the kitchen and, go over a couple topics, so that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it'd be very helpful for everybody to know what's available, especially, if anything evolves forward with the clearing off of cars, and so, what might that be?
Yeah.
But even before that, I think that there is some turnover in the Royal. It's not very much turnover,
Yeah.
but it would be great for people to know that there are services available, because while you have everyone in the same building, sometimes people receiving the services aren't communicating to people who don't receive services what may be available. So,
And Human Services works closely with Chris, and we're always referring, constantly we're calling him.
Yeah.
And anyone that we get, especially at the Royal, any new residents that come to us, we always tell them about their services.
right.
Well,
So you're working with Marisol over there now?
Yes,
Yeah, right.
Marisol and Myrna over the house.
But I think the other value that At Home brings in that forum is the fact that the other non-handicapped people who live there need to know what's going on.
Right.
Again, I understand, we're just, you guys decide we're not gonna plow for 72 hours. I would be very careful about not totally informing everybody there that there's gonna be change. We're not good or bad, it's a change, and get feedback from everybody.
And I take the opposite position. I'd say there are certain people who cannot get this done within 24 hours. We have to at least give them a chance to get their cars cleaned off.
I don't disagree with that, Joe, at all. But the problem is, there's 6 handicap spots we're talking about. And how many total parking spots are there?
But they can get their cars out.
Joe, I understand that. I understand that, but to not explain to people in advance that it's going to change is going to be a problem.
I agree, and that's why the letter that they sent out last year, which started this whole nightmare, okay, right? Was the triggering event for this, right? Which was, you shall move your car within 24 hours after every snowfall. That was new, okay? Hence, I'm trying to move that to 48 to 72 without public comment. I want that to be done like yesterday, okay? With a new letter saying 48 to 72, and then if people want to bitch about that, be our guest, right? But 24 hours is simply unreasonable.
It's too short.
I'm thinking about my own cars. Joe Pankowski in your driveway, remove all snow within 24 hours from every car. Not gonna happen, okay? So as a result, to buy more time for seniors who are, quite frankly, slightly more frail than Joe Pankowski, then I would, in fact, think that's a critical thing to do.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And I also agree that we need to work on the wordsmithing of some of these messages.
Yes.
Agreed. The letter, the terseness of it was also significant.
Yes.
I agree with you.
Yeah, right.
So a new letter 48 to 72 at least gets us into the Boy Scout era, where we can at least ask them to find a way to clean them up within a reasonable time.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks, Peter.
Good, thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
Great discussion. Oh, I love that. That's good stuff.
Nothing is ever easy.
No,
Yeah.
correct. But we're trying to do our best to be able to help if we can. Thanks
They
again.
say,
Have a
journey of
nice day.
1,000 miles starts with single steps.
That's right, exactly.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome, appreciate you. Okay. Other old business. My guess is, Peter, you may have some old business.
Yeah, let me start with some good news.
Oh, there we go. That works.
Let's start with the library. Library is going to have their Christmas tree book display again. It's going to start the day after Thanksgiving, and this is where a number of organizations, perhaps at Home in Darien, will do it again this year. We'll pick a book and build a Christmas tree display, and it's an absolutely marvelous event. And it'll be there until the end of the year, and again, encourage people to go see it. The reminder of what was spoken about by Amanda, the Reading to Connect memory books. This is again, terrific program. And just to remind folks, it's in use now in the library. There are books for people that have some dementia because one of the things they know is that the reading continues. And so again, it's appropriate reading for somebody with dementia, so check that out.
Peter, I've mentioned that after you brought it up to friends and in social things. People just think that is such a great idea. And because these are people who have somebody in the family who's dealing with issues. And their response is, oh my God, that is perfect, because we're reading kids' books. The library really should be applauded for being ahead of the curve.
They really are, and other libraries are starting to pick it up.
I bet.
Also, quick peek behind the curtain. We're going to start a new program at the library starting in January. If you like opera like I do, they're going to be a rebroadcast of a live from the Met Opera on Sundays, one Sunday a month, January, February, March, and April. And again, it'd be a perfect thing for at Home in Darien, I think, to kind of get connected to. But that's unfolding, and that's a pretty good program.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about SWACA, if I can. If you remember, we had legislative breakfasts, and honestly, legislative breakfasts haven't been working, where the legislators come into town to meet with us, because again, if you remember this past spring, we had one, and somebody in the legislature died, and everybody that was in the legislature had to go up to the wake. So SWACA is going to undertake a new effort. So what they're planning to do for each of the 14 towns that SWACA serves, they want to meet with town influencers and have a SWACA team of experts sit down and hear concerns. So for example, I would imagine for this town it would be you, Joe, it would be Allie, it would be Chris, it would be the person that runs person to person. In other words, who are the influencers, where they will come and listen and then organize the reflections of those 14 towns, and then we'll have a big meeting with legislators in Hartford where they'll be specific to our towns and what our needs are. So that's coming down the road, and I think probably in the next month or so, you and some of others will get an invitation. Again, I encourage your participation in that. AARP. AARP is now providing service to Connecticut 211 program, providing more information to enforce that program. We're going to come back to that program in a minute. Also, AARP now has an employer caregiving program where they will go to an employer and provide information for live seminars or virtual live seminars on subjects like preparing to be a family caregiver, financial well-being for working family caregivers, how to pay for care, Medicare 101, et cetera. So for firms in town, it might be good for the town itself, for town employees, just take a look at that program and do some of this. So again, to bring those kinds of services down to the grassroots. AARP also has taken the caregiver on a nationwide basis report and looked at what it means for the state of Connecticut. I'm going to pass these out, and you can take a look. Let me just pass them out around the table. I think it shows the really criticality and the increasing need to support caregivers through a whole bunch of things, whether it's relief in work situations, whether it's relief in tax situations, whether it's relief in support programs. The last thing I want to talk about is this morning, as I was sitting here, I got a Connecticut Mirror flash. And it's Connecticut 211 info line seeks first funding hike in 15 years. So 15 years ago, this was established by the state and the United Way and by organizations like AARP. It surprised me that they handled 1,700,000 requests this year alone, and that their funding from the state was given to them 15 years ago. So the funding has never been raised in 15 years. And it's really becoming a critical issue. It's really and we know it's going to be worse and worse because we know there's a flurry of concerns about Medicare and SNAP and improvement. So again, I would encourage you, if you don't subscribe to the Connecticut Mirror, I think it's a great resource. But if you read something like this, think about what you might be doing to help somebody, either bring it to a legislator's ear or spread the word out.
Awesome.
That'll do it.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter. Any questions for Peter? Hearing none. Chris, what's going on at home in Darien?
Couple things. We are initiating our fall appeal. We continue to be funded almost primarily, exclusively by private donors, so it's critical for us, and we'll be sending that out to letters out with an update kind of what we've done this year. Peter mentioned Littree Lane. Yes, we are participating again.
Okay.
I won't tell you our title, but if you see a Winnie the Pooh tree out there, you're going to be impressed. Little hint. Our annual meeting will be on December 3rd, Wednesday, December 3rd. And we'll be reaching out to everybody on this committee with the hopes that you can be there. Obviously, it's so central to what we do. This year, it's going to be in the library community room again, but we're going to have a guest speaker, Michael Stern, the music director from Orchestra Lumos. So he'll be talking about senior-related issues and relevance with music. And fascinating guy, and we're really excited to have him. It's going to be at 4 p.m., so it's going to be a little different than our previous one. A little bit about At Home in Darien and what we've done, and some quick board issues, but then right into Michael Stern. So it'll be light bites and some beverages, so it'll be more of an event. And speaking of events, we continue to have robust schedules regarding our out and about eats. We were at Nino's last week. We had 17 people there. They opened their whole menu for, like we've done each time, a fixed price that includes tax and tip. And the feedback continues to be great. We will be going in December. We have breakfast at the Granola Bar. So it'll be our second breakfast event. Same thing, flat rate, tax and tip. So we're looking forward to that. We have a couple concerts coming up in December, including the Darien High School Holiday Concert. So we will be taking the van there, and I'm sure we'll be bringing in a number of people there. So our monthly calendar events, anybody in Darien TV land, if you're not getting our monthly calendar events, please reach out to the office and ask for them.
What's the phone number, Chris?
It's 203-655-2227. And it's not just an at-home in Darien event specific newsletter. We get information from the library, from the senior center, from Ally and Cynthia's team. So we consolidate and put information in there. And our list is really growing. So organically, we put that in our newsletter, the out and about. And so please reach out to us.
Thank you. Any questions for Chris? Hearing none. Do we have any other old business? Peter?
Joe, also, we've talked a couple of times about the group looking at kind of sharing information on commissions on aging. That's starting to form up. I've been on the steering committee, and I understand they're going to be reaching out to you and folks like you to see what can be done moving forward. One of the really interesting little things that happened, for example, we looked at some of the websites, and some of the websites were not up to date in either describing commissions on aging or who their members are. And we picked up a little bit of a fly because I think our website probably hadn't, the information about commission hadn't been updated about the size of the town, right?
Right, yeah, well, Peter caught the fact that we had only, on our website, we said that we only had 3,000 plus seniors, and in fact, Peter correctly noted we have over 4,300 seniors. So that's now been updated on our website.
So little things like that, again, just particularly to help newcomers, for example, that want to get involved in town, for
Sure.
example. So it's a good resource. So
Exactly.
there'll be more to come from you, I'm sure. on that.
Appreciate that. Great, awesome. Other old business? Hearing none, new business? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn the November meeting? Thanks, everybody. Second, all in favor? Aye. See you guys in December.